Leak Labs is the entry point into beauty that is meant to be welcoming, healing, and loving in the way that I never got to experience it in my career. And in the way that I know so many of you in our community have reached out to us to thank us for the work that we've done. But there were limits. And the point of building Leak Labs is to end the limitations that we have.
If you have ever been on the beauty side of TikTok, you have probably seen ads from Medicube. In 2025, they were one of the top revenue earning beauty brands on the platform, with sales surpassing $100 million. That is not a mistake. That is not a typo in my script. That is real. But this company, founded in South Korea, is now in trouble with the South Korean government, and regulators have ordered Medicube to suspend advertising for certain products due to violations of their Cosmetics Act.
Introducing the new Air Wrap Fur with flea detection, air straight mane and tail with stable heat control. The Dyson Pet Range.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to What's Up in Makeup, where we talk about everything that happened across the beauty space, all in one place. I have a lot to chat with you about today. All of the topics that we're going to be discussing are next to me right now. Feel free to skip around if you're not interested in one story or another. It is a choose your own adventure here on What's Up in Makeup. So flip through, timestamps are down below. The first story has to do with the general work agreement that we pretty much all agree to. You know, you do X amount of tasks or you work X amount of hours, and then you get paid X amount of money for that work, right? But what if one day that money just didn't come and you were informed that even though you did your work, you did your part, you're unlikely to get paid. And the worst part about it is that it is 100% legal. That is exactly what some content creators are experiencing now that Beauty Bay has new owners. Here is what's happening and why it is completely legal. So the British retailer went through the administration process. They were sold to new owners, but the debt owed to creators were left behind in that process. So Beauty Bay put up a post last week explaining that there are in fact outstanding payments due from the previous owners, but it's not their responsibility to pay them. This is what they said in the nicest way possible. I'm curious to hear what you think. Here we go. It says, "We understand this is your work, your time, and your livelihood, and we are genuinely heartbroken that the people we've built relationships with over the years are experiencing this. Sadly, payments owed by the previous ownership are being handled by administrators who should have already been in contact with creators. If you have questions, they will be able to support you directly. Although we have already spoken to a lot of you personally, we wanted to address this openly for full transparency." This reminded me immediately of what happened in the US with the bankruptcies of Forma and Morphe, where people like James Charles filed for over $2 million of work and royalties that went unpaid. There were dozens of creators and brands that were named as unsecured creditors in those legal filings, and some brands like Suva Beauty even went out of business because of it. So even though this isn't in the US, it seems like a very similar situation. The new owners of the Beauty Bay are saying, hey, we got sold. Creators are publicly calling us out for not paying them. And those call outs are loud enough that we kind of had to say something before our reputation was damaged. It sucks that this happened, but we aren't responsible for what the old owners did, so talk to them if you have issues. And chances are you aren't going to get your money, which sucks, but we can't help you because we didn't do it. However, we don't want to piss you off too bad because we kind of need you for partnerships with us in the future, so don't be mad at us, okay? We didn't do it. What I feel like from all of this needs to be broadly understood is that this sucks 100%, but unfortunately, it is normal and it's legal and it's what usually happens in this kind of situation. So the question is, Will Beauty Bay be able to rebuild trust with these creators that are affected? Can the new owners do better at cultivating creator relationships than the previous owners? Honestly, it doesn't feel like a great start. If they truly value creator relationships, they really need to show that, not just say, I'm sorry, but it's not our problem. So hopefully at minimum, they're giving creators an actual contact person rather than just contact the other guys and hope the creators can find them on their own. And then what they could do is maybe make a list of all the unpaid creators and make them a priority in future launches and campaigns. Maybe offer them really good rates on new content. Something to show these creators, if they actually value them, that they are truly valued. I mean, we all say all the time, actions speak louder than words, right? Always. And right now it's just words. So we'll see whether they can put their money where their mouth is. For real. Oh, the other thing, comments are turned off on the post. So that might not be such a great sign. We'll see how this plays out. This week in the saga of leaked labs, we have a completely different side of things from the lipstick lesbians, Alexis and Christina, who founded the brand. In case this story is new to you, leaked labs is a concept where the founders find cosmetic product ideas that were rejected by major brands for one reason or another. And if they see a good idea, they then leak the product in a limited run to see if consumers like it. Then the product takes one of three paths. The first one is to launch it as is to the masses and it becomes an item in their permanent collection. Second option is to go back to the lab for reformulation and then relaunch. And then the third option is it just gets scrapped forever. Now, over the past month or so, leaked labs has been the talk of the internet, with some people loving the idea of testing unique makeup formulations and others that are just skeptical of the whole model, saying that leaked labs is asking customers to pay top dollar to give feedback on subpar products that were left behind by other brands for a reason. And some people are even saying that customers who bought products from leaked labs are setting a dangerous precedent for other brands to charge customers for their research and development processes. That this business model could lead to customers being taken advantage of rather than what is typical, which is being paid for their time and feedback rather than paying for it. So last week, Alexis and Christina began to answer some of the top questions about their first launch, which was called Flexi Powder. They posted 2 videos. The first one was about the cleanliness of the product after use, and the second one was about the inconsistencies in the thickness of the discs between the different shades. We left off last week with a question about that. Their chemist and creator of Flexi Powder said this.
Why did all of the Flexi shades have different thicknesses in the discs? There's only one person to ask that knows the real answer.
Andrea!
Hi! It's not possible to achieve the same thickness because of the absorption of pearls, because the thinner pearls absorb more. The binder we use to achieve the flexibility, while the bigger pearls absorb less. So it's the reason why in the same packaging you can have different thicknesses depending of the color you choose.
But I was confused. I'm talking about the ingredients on the ingredient list. What ingredients are reacting this way? I was thinking it might be the mica, but mica is a rock, so it doesn't absorb. So I'm confused. Let me just say, the science nerds in our community came through. I appreciate you so much. From cosmetic chemists to geologists to engineers, you all showed up and my nerdy brain was here for it. And what everybody largely agreed on was that the thickness variation between the shades is a real thing, but Andrea's explanation wasn't very clear. Apparently, mica has a layered porous structure and large shimmer particles need more binder to fill the gaps between them. Kind of like how coarse sand needs more water to pack the granules together rather than fine sand, which would need less water. So the shades with bigger shimmer particles tend to end up thicker than the shades with smaller particles, that those end up thinner. That's what held up in the explanation. Along with that, the lipstick lesbians did respond to my original question, and I want to read you their response. They said, "This is something we see across powders customers that use liquid binders, but totally understand why it can feel confusing. So we wanted to make sure you heard it directly from the source. Here is what was relayed. Mica adsorption refers to the process where oils or chemicals adhere to mica's surface, enhancing texture and stability in cosmetics. Then they say, imagine pouring cocoa powder into a liquid. The powder absorbs the liquid, making the mixture denser. In cosmetics, powdery substances absorb the binders, binding together and improving the consistency and stability of the product. Okay, so just like the scientists here were saying, they were open about defining mica adsorption. That's the surface coating of the oils adhering to the outside. Yes, great, good, same page. But then the very next sentence, they switched to cocoa powder absorbing the liquid, and these are totally different things. Adsorption and absorption are not interchangeable, and I don't understand why we're still here in this conversation at all. And I promise you, I am not saying this to be difficult. I genuinely tried to follow it, and I even sent a DM to try one more time for clarity. But at a certain point, I just have to let it go. And I think I'm there with this because this is the thing. Alexis built her entire platform. The full reason why people trusted her enough to buy this product is knowing exactly how cosmetic ingredients work. So the bar for her explanation is higher than it would be for most people. So I don't think it's unfair to call out that she's saying adsorption in one and absorption in the other and using them interchangeably when that just doesn't make sense. To be really real, when it comes down to it, does it really matter whether the mica adsorbs or absorbs? The results are still the same. The way the shiny bits interact with the binder is what's causing the inconsistencies. And Andrea, the chemist, said that she could look into solving it, and the pros in my comment section pointed out that any skilled formulator who understands how their ingredients behave should be able to adjust the recipe to get consistent thickness throughout for all 4 shades. But what Andrea also said was that fixing it might make the product more fragile. And that's where I have a problem as a customer, because I've been using my Flexi powder and my silver tore after about 3 or 4 uses. It's just the corner, but it's already having issues compared to a traditional eyeshadow in a pan that could give me years of use without any issues at all. So for me, if fixing the thickness and consistency means making these discs even more delicate than they already are, that is not a trade-off that I would want. It's not a solution. It's probably going to make the product legitimately worse, and I don't think that they should mess with that. So to wrap that part up, my big issue is that they've set the bar high for their understanding of how cosmetic ingredients work, and they have not met that bar. There is a second part to this update, and I think it's really, really important to discuss. And it's the post that they put up on the Lipstick Lesbians Instagram account. Let's play it and talk about it.
If you've been on the internet the last few weeks, it's highly likely that you've seen a video about the Lipstick Lesbians and our new brand, Leak Labs. It's also highly likely that you may think we've disappeared.
We did not disappear. We've been traveling. We're at the airport. We're on our way home.
We've also grossly underestimated that volume of feedback would come at the busiest cycle of the year, literally for innovation, where the world's biggest conference happens every year. And also, we had a trip to Korea before that. Cosmoprof is the quintessential innovation conference. It resets the beauty industry in its entirety for the year. We can totally understand the frustration that mounted because we weren't responding fast enough, but the human truth is we simply couldn't process the information that was coming at us fast enough to give you what you all wanted.
We totally can see how people are feeling left out of the conversation because Leaked was really for the makeup obsessed beauty enthusiasts. Now with this feedback that we're getting, we can totally make adjustments. That's the whole point.
So was it bad timing? Yeah. I mean, I believe them though when they say they didn't predict all of the feedback. They didn't see the launch through the eyes of customers because they aren't customers first. They're marketers first. And they didn't see their blind spot until they were bombarded with the feedback. And what she's saying about Cosmoprof is real. And I do think it was important for people like them with this type of concept to be there at Cosmoprof. But I am never a fan of rushing to respond, even when voices are loud. And what's important in that response is just to be honest. So they could have said something like, we're getting a lot of feedback about the things that we hadn't considered, so we want to thank you for that. We want Leak Labs to be amazing. We're going to take our time with your ideas and let you know how we're going to use them to improve. Thank you again for taking the time to share with us. We'll update you soon. Done. But they didn't do that. And that's what the problem is. They should not have done the State of the Union. They should not have done the explanation posts. It should have just been, we're listening and we'll get back to you. And the problem is that now they're saying that they're going to make adjustments, but that's not what they came out of the gate with that caused all the problems in the first place. It wasn't just the action of the launch. It was their reaction that caused a lot of problems.
We were in a sea of sameness. We are here to bring you access both in information and in tactile textures and formulas that you otherwise wouldn't experience. Any base formula that's been presented to us has been stability tested and tested for safety to make sure they could be used legally on any of the surfaces of the face that we're advertising them for.
Or for whatever the product's intended to be used for.
Some brands own their formulas, some brands don't. There's a whole world out there of nuance. With Leaked Labs, we can explain to you that our intention with these goods is to push them to their limits or bring them to market as is when we feel so compelled by the sheer innovation of it all.
And in this lies the problem, because yes, this sounds great. Give me that. I want that. But how they're doing it, releasing a product to the public and charging top dollar when you already have things you want to do to improve it is just not cool. It's not. I understand they want to bring things to market faster, great, but the corners they are cutting are there for a reason, to make sure that people are investing their money into something that's worth buying. And in my opinion, they shouldn't charge money for a subpar product for the sake of innovation. And that's what I think they actually did. Bring us the innovation. Yes, we want this, but bring it to us finished, high quality, and usable.
I'm actually so humbled by the amount of people that wanted a retail ready brand from me and us. I really am.
From you.
I didn't expect that. You will get that in some version, just not the way you're used to getting it. Otherwise, I'm in the sea of sameness with everyone else, and that's the place I never want to be.
I don't understand this. Why wouldn't you expect people to want retail-ready products from you? Why would anybody want a product that's not retail-ready? This is just a wild thing to say. And as far as the sea of sameness, I don't think they are. They're really not. It's just not going to be as easy as picking something different and making it for funsies.
And that's the truth. We have to be true to our ethos of education. Christina has a doctorate in education. I have been doing this for 20 years. I have a deep love. And my love isn't about perfection. My love is about teaching you. So if I had to build a brand, it was gonna be a brand rooted in teaching you and showing you how it's done and how it's made. Because that's who the lipstick lesbians have always been.
You have to actually think about it from the perspective of the person you've told your audience you are. You've told people you're an expert in product development who understands the customer. And I think that's why people are confused. Who you're showing us you are through this launch is different than who you've presented yourself to be. Alexis, who walks through the Sephora and talks about product ingredients, would not have approved Flexi Powder. She would have seen the problems with it. But Alexis of Leaked Labs didn't see a problem with it and charged $40, including shipping, to customers for something that wasn't ready for customers. That is what happened.
There's nothing wrong with getting constructive feedback, and we can receive 100% constructive feedback. We thank you for it.
Yes, thank you.
We're better for it. The next leak is gonna be even better than we could have even anticipated because of it. But here's the most important part. We will not accept attacks on our appearance, on our aesthetic, on who we are as people. We will not accept these lies that we're scamming people for money. That's not who we are. And that's just, quite frankly, not right.
Okay, I do feel like some of the comments that I have personally read crossed a line. Some of them are outright cruel, and that is 100% wrong. With that being said, when you are in the business of selling makeup, you have to make sure your makeup is on point. And the fact is, theirs has not, and that is not being mean. If they were selling cars or air conditioners or magazine subscriptions, yes, their makeup application should be completely irrelevant. But when you're selling makeup, even if you have to have someone else do it for you, you have to make sure it looks good, especially when you're using the exact products that you're trying to sell. Some people see Leaked Labs as a way to save them money on the product development side, and that's, to me, a valid critique. I don't think it's a scam, but it is something people traditionally choose to participate in for free or are paid to participate in, not pay $40 for 2 grams of product. Again, it's a valid critique. Again, I do not agree with cruelty or low blows, but I do agree with the message behind the critiques.
We hear the feedback on the price. More people want to be a part of this, and we want to include you.
The most innovative formulas cost the most until there are brands and other suppliers and other tools that are created to make it lower in cost. Sometimes the raw materials themselves are at such insane costs, and then there's ways to develop the effect of what that raw material does and replace it with something, less expensive. What you can expect going forward is transparency. Some prices will be higher and some will be lower. Some will be more retail ready in terms of product than others. Some will be formulated from scratch by me. Some will be slightly modified by me because I think they're wonderful as is. Because
we're going to be transparent about that process.
All of it.
Now, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but the feedback on the price didn't have anything to do with more people wanting to be a part of it. That was never part of the conversation that I saw. The feedback was charging $17 per gram of product for this. For comparison, the Pat McGrath Mothership palettes are $128 for 20 grams of product. That's $6.40 per gram. A brand that we know is very expensive, let's talk Tom Ford. It's $96, 7 grams of product. Even that is $13.71 per gram. Leaked Labs is over $3 more per gram of product than Tom Ford for an experimental product that Alexis knew needed to be improved. Don't you think that's fucked up? I think that's fucked up. And then she continues talking like we don't understand product development or makeup markup at all. We get it. We understand it. And your price point is still outrageous. It's not to be mean. It's because that's what happened.
Also, there's this weird conspiracy around us selling the data. I could understand why people would be upset with that, but that's not what's happening. The sentiment that we're looking at is whether or not we bring a product back, the product retires, or we evolve a product further.
We refine it.
What they're leaving out here is that this part stems from Alexis saying that she was welcoming other brands to work with Leaked Labs to test their products.
This is a space for collaboration. This is an invitation to all brands out there that aren't sure about an innovation. If they so choose, maybe they can leak it with our lab.
They wouldn't profit off the data collected if they invited another brand to test with Leaked Labs? What do you mean? Like, what would the benefit be then? You know what I'm saying? And while we're here, there's also another rumor that I wanted to address that came from TikTok creator Britt Clark.
Let's read this together, shall we? If you submit, upload, post, email, otherwise transmit any ideas, suggestions, feedback, reviews, proposals, plans, or other content, collectively feedback, you grant us a perpetual worldwide sub-licensable royalty-free license to use, reproduce, modify, publish, distribute, and display such feedback in any medium for any purpose, including for commercial use. This is the part where I get mad, because are you kidding me? I keep coming back to the thought of there's no way that this is not a social experiment. Because this is something I don't check often, are other brands doing this too? Because not only are we buying your product, we're testing it, we're giving you feedback, we're producing content, and you're telling me that I'm granting you access to all of that? Absolutely not. I wonder if the lipstick lesbians would agree to terms and services like this when you're trying to just buy a product to review it on the internet. Given the amount of the ads that they post, I'm thinking not, but I want to know why a brand that's owned by influencers would be exploiting their fellow content creators.
I did make a response to this on TikTok, but people are coming here on YouTube and telling me that Leaked Labs can just go around the internet and take people's content and use it, and that is actually not true. The only way that Leaked Labs can have rights to your feedback, any videos you create, is if you submit it directly. Then yes, they can use your feedback. And this is the exact same language that is used on the Sephora and Ulta websites. If you submit a review or a video to those platforms, you give them rights to it. It's the same thing with Leaked Labs. But they can't just like take my review off of YouTube and have rights to it just because I bought the product. And that was just a misunderstanding with the legal language. And I have had that confirmed by lawyers that I am correct on that. So if you've created content for Leaked Labs, don't worry. Unless you have submitted it directly to them, they cannot take it and they do not have rights to it.
We heard you. We heard you on packaging. We heard you on wanting something, even though we're doing this early access innovation to try and make it even more fully realized from an experience perspective. And we can do that. So we're actually going to adjust some of the leaks and when they come out in the cycle. And we're going to be extremely intentional in the language, explaining at what stage of innovation this product is hitting you, how it was developed, how it was refined, and we're going to show you all of that in our docuseries.
And we're also going to get really clear on the language as well, because we can totally own that some of the language was definitely confusing and didn't accurately represent what we were trying to do. So thank you for sharing that feedback with us so that we could evolve and make Leaked Labs better.
And that's the point. Because remember, beauty queens, there are hundreds of brands, thousands, if not millions of product on the market.
Yeah.
The choice is always yours. It's true in every video we've ever made as the Lipstick Lesbians. It couldn't even be more true now that Leaked Labs exist. The choice is yours.
And for everyone who purchased our first leak, thank you. That means so much that you supported us and that you wanted to experience these early access innovations. And we're working on ways to engage with you further.
I actually kind of love this part because whether people like it or not, the Lipstick Lesbians have the right to sell cosmetics that are unfinished as long as they are safe to use. What's important is the transparency so people know what they're buying. So I think this part is actually kind of fantastic and a huge improvement in the transparency piece. And if people don't want to buy a half-baked idea, they don't have to, but at least they're going in knowing that it's a half-baked idea.
I worked in the beauty industry for 20 years. Within my career, and even 3 years ago, I felt voiceless. Whatever space I occupied as a beauty lover, I was either too much, too big, too fat, too loud, too opinionated, too in love with artistry.
Too intense.
Too intense. And I actually thought that I would be rejected by the internet, which is why I never made content, and we argued about it for 5 years. And the truth is that I never let the rejection of beauty, the industry at large, the way it rejected me, affect the way I showed up for you when I did finally break that seal, boom, and come on the internet because of Christina gamifying it for me.
It's okay, Mom. Do you want me to take over?
I think I can do it.
All right, so I totally get this. I have been fighting for my life on these YouTube streets for the past 14 years. I have watched dishonest people, mean people, cruel people grow and be successful, and it is disheartening to not fit the mold for so many years, see so many of my peers who are amazing people not fit the mold and not grow for so many years. A lot of us can relate to that, even outside the influencer world. But here's the thing. Intentionally or unintentionally, this moment is making it difficult to have a discussion about product quality, which is why we're here. This is the same thing that happened with Jaclyn Hill and Lipstick Gate. When Alexis talks about personal rejection and healing, it's a distraction from what this video is supposed to be about. And just like with Jaclyn, intentional or not, it makes any criticism of Leaked Labs a personal attack on Alexis herself, which her fans will absolutely latch onto, and it will effectively kill that valuable feedback that they say they're asking for.
So, Leaked Labs is the entry point into beauty that is meant to be welcoming, healing, and loving in the way that I never got to experience it in my career. And in the way that I know so many of you in our community have reached out to us to thank us for the work that we've done. But there were limits. And the point of building Leaked Labs is to end the limitations that we had. We also feel it's only fair for us to reset a little bit as to why we even built this business in the first place. Leaked Lab is a new entry point into early access innovation and another lane that doesn't have to be better or worse than the ones that exist for beauty lovers to approach and embark on a journey of play with us.
We love you, beauty queens.
We love our beauty queens.
It's all about love here. It's always been about love. Beauty is supposed to bring us together, not rip us apart.
I'm conflicted here because I do have a genuine compassion for Alexis here, and I can only imagine how hard these last couple of weeks have been for her. But this is the thing. People go to her for science. That's what she has said she's an expert in understanding these ingredients. And instead of giving us science and ingredient expertise, she's giving a bit of word salad. And no science. I'm really glad they're resetting, but I honestly don't think they're getting it yet. I don't think they've truly internalized the valid criticism. Or if they aren't addressing the difficult parts. Instead, this whole video feels like 20% we hear you and 80% here are the words we want to tell you so you aren't mad at us anymore. In the end, endgame, I don't think Flexi Powder should be tweaked and relaunched. I don't see how the concept is salvageable at all. The color payoff is not great. It's messy to apply. It's flimsy. It's hard to hold on to as you're using it. It can't be used by makeup artists because of the whole sanitation thing where the person sprayed it with alcohol and it turned into mush. The more you use it, the more it rips. It's just not a good product. So where I'm going with this is I'm moving on in my mind to Leak 2 because I know it's coming and it is legitimately make or break time.
Flexi is unbreakable unless you rip it.
Or make or rip time. Either way, it should be interesting. Here is something about me. I do not like April Fool's Day at all. It is my least favorite day of the year because I don't like being tricked. And I get tricked by April Fool's jokes pretty easily. I get tricked by pranks easily and they make me feel dumb and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But there is one exception, and that is the jokes that are made by beauty brands on this day, mostly on Instagram. There were so many jokes this year. It was really hard to keep track, but our What's in Makeup Hunters group on Facebook put a bunch in there. I also found some on my own, so I put them together for you in a little montage so you could enjoy some of the fake products that brands came up with. Let's go ahead and start with Ipsy, who got into the skincare trend space with Harry and David with the goal of perfect skin in the form of a DIY mask, scrub, or serum using their famous Royal Riviera pears. Next, Laura Geller collaborated with Chosen Foods for a Spackle Mayo Pantry Perfect Primer. If you're looking for heatless curls this April, look no further than cup noodles. No microwave or hot water required to achieve perfect ramen curls. Glossier collaborated with Fishwife for glow from within wild-caught sardines. If you're looking to add some sweetness to your toothbrush, Keebler has you covered with cookie paste inspired by their famous cookies. This one hit me in a personal spot. Stripes Beauty introduced 2 new fragrances for the perimenopausal. First, Hot and Bothered with notes of night sweat, resilience, red wine, and the 3 a.m. Why Am I Awake? And also the 40-something and foggy with notes of confusion, dry wit, and something floral we can't remember the name of. Pet lovers, Dyson wants to bring more beauty with tools for your pets featuring air straight mane and tail with ultra stable temperature control. Airwrap Fur has integrated flea detection and delivers 90% more bounce. Airwrap Top Coat gives 80% more fetching sheen, and the Supersonic Dapper is guaranteed to have your pooch looking on point. Oh, but we aren't done yet. Gets wild. Ever heard of that thing where you tan your perineum? Ultraviolet has, and now they want to bring you the Down Under Sun Charger Stick with Precise Glide. There was also a little shade throwing with their Air Screen Anti-SPF that's apparently 100% Yucca app approved. And if you want to make your own sunscreen at home, they've got an As Seen on TV kit for that too. Now we've got Burt's Bees bringing California rolls to your lips. Holika Holika is bringing you the tiniest gigantic eyeshadow palette ever. And Sol de Janeiro is partnering with Laneige for the perfect mashup of their fragrances and their lip sleeping masks. But my friends, not all of these jokes are fake. Some are being made into real products. Enter nail polish brand Halo Taco. They have launched a collection that's garbage on purpose. This is the Hoke Garbage Collection with 4 shades for $53. The shades are named No Smoking, Sparkly Shit, Dirty Martini, and Born Ugly, and it comes with a magnetic wand. Officially, in my opinion, the prettiest, ugliest polishes ever. And Glaminatrix Cosmetics following up on their Tones of Tur palette, which I actually have on my eyes today. They're following up on the success of that palette with another palette sure to attract a lot of attention. This is the prequel that nobody asked for, called Silent But Deadly, with names like Cheek Squeak, Hot Boxed, Butt Bubbler, and Air Biscuit. This is a real palette, and you can get it now for $64. Directly from their website, they say because it's impossible to explain to someone that your eyeshadow is inspired by flatulence, while also receiving compliments on how beautiful your makeup looks. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's very Glaminatrix. Well done. Absolutely well done. Last week in live chat, we talked about a ruling that came down on Meta and YouTube saying that the internal functionality of how platforms work is harmful to children. Unfortunately, the fine was essentially a slap on the wrist of $6 million, but it shows that courts are noticing the harm that can come from things that are completely normalized in our society. Now, this week, the Italian competition authority named AGCM has launched an investigation into Sephora owner LVMH and Benefit Cosmetics for allegedly attempting to sell anti-aging treatments to kids younger than 10.
This is my oldest daughter. She's 10, and we are gonna get into some skincare. I was recently sent this from Benefit.
Pore clearing mask. Leaving for 30 minutes.
Let's just skip this.
Okay, we'll do this one 3 to 5 minutes. Look at this. It's kind of green. This is what it looks like. Did it feel good after? Yeah.
It's a few hours later. No, you look really good. Your skin is very glowy.
Italian regulators are looking into what they call an insidious marketing campaign that shows children and young micro-influencers being encouraged to purchase serums, masks, and anti-aging creams. AGMC says that Sephora and Benefit failed to appropriately label products as for adults, and at times didn't make it clear that products were not intended for use by minors. And they're using a term that is new to me, but is starting to make the rounds, cosmeticorexia. It's been coined referring to an unhealthy fixation on skincare among minors. Now, this phenomenon takes the playful Sephora kids mentality from a fun hobby and playing grown up to a legitimate unhealthy obsession with anti-aging. Now, LVMH said in a press release that they can't comment other than to say that they are willing to fully cooperate with the authorities and that, quote, all the companies reaffirm their strict compliance with applicable Italian regulations. So here are my thoughts. In the past, as an educator, I have been a big supporter of play. Parents, of course, should be monitoring how their kids play and what their kids play with. The occasional sheet mask or a spa night or an appropriate hygiene routine is very different than an obsession with anti-aging, leading to the purchase of products inappropriate for young skin. And the fact of the matter is that some parents don't know the difference and maybe don't have the time or the energy to research it. That's where I feel regulators should and are stepping in. And in this case, marketing retinols or chemical exfoliators to kids is just plain wrong. And I am personally not a fan of minors getting beauty PR from brands unless it's approved by the parent and it's products specifically meant for children, like toys or clothes, or even shampoo and body wash makes sense to me. But sending kids full daily use elaborate skincare routines, to me, is crossing a line. I am curious how this one is going to play out, and I'm also curious what you think. Let me know in the comments. If you have ever been on the beauty side of TikTok, you have probably seen ads from Medicube. In 2025, they were one of the top revenue earning beauty brands on the platform, with sales surpassing $100 million. That is not a mistake. That is not a typo in my script. That is real. The brand absolutely dominated affiliate marketing, with 92% of its revenue coming from affiliate links, including over $6.8 million during the 2025 Black Friday Cyber Week alone. They saw a 1,143% increase from 2024 to 2025. Their number one seller is a kit called the Glass Glow Skincare Set with 5 full-size products. It sold for $77 on their website. But this company, founded in South Korea, is now in trouble with the South Korean government, and regulators have ordered Medicube to suspend advertising for certain products due to violations of their Cosmetics Act. Specifically, the 1-Day Exome Pore Ampoule 2000 and the 1-Day Exome Shot Pore Ampoule 7500 were ordered to be suspended until June 8th, 2026, because this is what happened. Regulators found that Medicube was using misleading wording to convince customers into believing that the cosmetics were pharmaceutical products using medical claims. Claims included terms like pore improvement and skin regeneration. Medicube did accept the administrative action and promised to provide more accurate information to customers in the future. Personally, I love this accountability. It is so important for governments to look out for their citizens when it comes to marketing. And there is a reason why these laws exist. And I love that South Korea is enforcing them. And in big business news that you should know, Kering and L'Oreal have officially joined forces in a €4 billion beauty deal following approval from competition authorities. So legally, L'Oreal has acquired Kering Beauty, including the House of Creed. This is what the other big conglomerate, Coty, was fighting against, because they really wanted to keep that Gucci license so bad. But it seems like that once the clock ticks down on Coty's current contract, L'Oreal is going to have a 50-year exclusive license for all Gucci fragrance and beauty products. Now, beyond that, there are talks of exploring joint opportunities in both wellness and longevity, which we know are huge businesses right now. So there's even more pressure for Estee Lauder and Puig. Tell me which one it is, because I've heard both. Anyway, for those two brands to make a deal to merge their brands in order to even compete with L'Oreal and Kering. They are a powerhouse now, and L'Oreal was a powerhouse on their own. So I kind of love this next story, and I hope other companies notice and do the exact same thing. Here's what's happening. Apparently, MAC Cosmetics is offering UK employees commission on sales generated through the TikTok shop. Starting this past Thursday, MAC will make sure their stores have in the store mini studios to host live shopping broadcasts on TikTok. Makeup artists will be able to create tutorials and do product demos. So staff who opt in can earn a percentage of sales driven via their content. Again, this is only in the UK, but it rolls out across more than 230 locations. Their first live stream is taking place at their Carnaby Street store in London. MAC is officially the first major beauty brand in the UK to extend this type of affiliate opportunity to its workforce. I do think it's really smart. I am nervous about the unedited live streams a little bit, because you never know what someone might say on a live stream, and they are responsible for what their employees say. So that does make me a little bit nervous. I kind of wish that they had, you create it, you submit it, it gets approved kind of thing. I think that would be safer, but I get it. I get where they're going with it. Because as you know, TikTok Shop has had a rapid growth, especially in 2025. Sales rose 60% year on year. That is absolutely huge. They do have professionals, of course, working in their stores, and chances are there is some downtime. So why not let them use their expertise to earn them a little more money, both for themselves and for MAC. It's great advertising for them. So it's in the end, probably a win-win situation. And I do hope more brands consider this. It is a fantastic idea. It just makes me a little nervous, the live stream thing. Just a little nervous. And now for this week's something old, something new. It was 10 years ago this week that Lush got themselves into quite the controversy because people who bought one of their products noticed plants growing out of their shower drains. Literally, it all came from the Wiki Magic Muscles bar that went viral when people started using the lotion massage bar as soap. And as the Adzuki beans went down the drain, the sprouts just started sprouting. And apparently, untrimmed beans can grow flowering plants up to 2 feet tall without soil. So Lush at the time warned that growing a plant in your drain could damage your pipes. So keeping the massage bars out of the shower was strongly recommended. Now this week, Lush went down a different pipe, one belonging to a pair of guys named Mario and Luigi. They will host an event at London's Outernet to promote the new Super Mario Galaxy movie with their collaboration collection. Though the movie has already hit theaters, the event will take place April 10th through the 12th and will feature a scented space with complimentary activities such as making a Lush-themed plant product at the Plant Makers Lab. There will also be a Super Mario Galaxy movie themed shuffleboard and a princess pamper session, allowing friends to treat one another to a hand and arm massage by learning techniques from the Lush experts. Products launched in stores include the Yoshi Egg Bath Bomb, which when dropped in the bath water reveals one of 4 colorful collectible shower gummies formulated with a blend of essential oils, the Yellow Luma Bubble Bar, which creates twinkling peach scented bubbles, and the Princess Peach's Crown Soap, which is strawberry scented with strawberry seed oil. Thankfully, no pipes were harmed in the making of these Super Mario products. And that, my friend, was What's Up in Makeup this week. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, as always, thank you to the What's Up in Makeup Facebook hunters. Their names are scrolling below me. Thank you for all of your submissions this week. I appreciate you so much. Just a heads up, there will be a What's Up in Makeup next week, but there will not be one for the next 2 weeks because I am taking my mom on a cruise. We did one last year together around this time for her birthday, and we had so much fun. And when the video that we filmed together about her experience with Avon did so well, I was like, Mama, thank you so much. Let me take you on a cruise. So I bought the tickets about a year ago, and now it is finally here. So we are so excited. It's just a Royal Caribbean cruise thing, but it's a really long one. It's about 2 weeks long. So there won't be any content for a little while on the channel, but no worries. I will be back. We are not moving yet. We are moving at the end of June, early July. It really just depends on when our house sells. And speaking of that, I just want to laugh at this with you because this was really funny. Somebody last week with their whole chest accused me that we had already moved and that this was a green screen background. And I know I look super crispy, but I promise you, it's real. I'm still here. I'm still in Maryland, I promise. But I do want to also let you know that we aren't having live chat today because I am celebrating Easter with my family, but there should be a live chat next week. But if you'd like to watch another video of mine right now from the screen, YouTube should be recommending 2 videos over here for you. The bottom one is last week's episode of What's Up in Makeup in case you missed it, and the top one is one YouTube thinks that you will enjoy from my catalog based on videos you've been watching recently. But if you gotta go, I completely get it. It is no problem. Thank you so much for watching as long as you did, and mad love to you. I will see you in a video very soon.